Good morning, grade 8. In this video, we are going to check the exercises in the workbook concerning Newton's first law because some classes didn't get the correction yet. So, your workbook, page 16 and 17. The first question, draw the described forces. Use labeled arrows to indicate the forces on a box, and show the net force in the column to the right. Okay, so in the first one, I have a force of 200 newtons to the left and another force of 50 newtons to the left. They have the same sense, so I have to add them. So it's 250 newtons to the left. The drawings should show two left-pointing arrows on the right side of the box, one labeled 200 newtons and the other labeled 50 newtons. The second one, a force of 100 newtons to the right and a force of 50 newtons to the left. These two has different senses, so I have to subtract them, and the sense of the biggest one is going to be the sense of the net force. So in this case, it's 100 minus 80, you'll get 20 newtons to the right. And the drawings should be one arrow going to the right, labeled 100 newtons, and another one going to the left labeled 80 newtons. You can draw them as a push or as a pull. Both cases are correct. And the last one, a force of 180 newtons to the right and a force of 180 newtons to the left. So in this case, I have two equal forces with opposite directions or senses, so the answer, the net force, is going to be equal to 0. And the drawings should show an arrow going to the left, labeled 180 newtons, and another one to the right with the same label. The second exercise, identify the forces in the table above as balanced forces or unbalanced forces. If you remember, when I say balanced forces, it means the net force is equal to 0, which is only case number 3. The answer is on page 56, so 1 and 2 are unbalanced because the net force is not equal to 0, and 3 is balanced. Now, summarize Newton's first law of motion. The answer is on page 57. This law states that if the net force on an object is 0, an object at rest will stay at rest, and an object in motion will continue moving in a straight line with a constant speed. So Newton's first law talks about cases where you have the net force equals to 0 or balanced forces. If the object is at rest, it will stay at rest. If it's in motion, it will complete its motion. Now, contrast the motion of objects acted on by balanced and unbalanced forces. The answers to this question are on page 57. Object's motion plus balanced forces, it means unchanged velocity. Since the object is moving and I have balanced forces, the object should keep on moving with the same velocity. Object's motion plus unbalanced forces, so I will have a changed velocity. Explain the effect of inertia on objects at rest and objects in motion. The answer to this question is on page 58. Inertia is the tendency of an object to resist a change in its motion. It causes objects at rest to remain at rest, and objects in motion to continue moving in a straight line at a constant speed unless outside forces intervene. Now, summarize how friction and inertia act on an object sliding on a flat surface. In other terms, why do objects stop moving? And the answer is on page 58. Inertia causes the object to continue sliding, but friction slows the object's motion. This is why most objects stop moving. Synthesize everything you have learned. Look at the objects around you that are at rest. Explain why they are subjected to net forces of 0 as opposed to no forces at all. This is a free answer. You can use your own words as long as they are scientific. So all stationary objects on Earth are being acted on by gravity. In order for an object not to be set in motion by the gravitational force, a balanced force must bring the object to 0, allowing it to remain at rest. You can use another example. You can say whatever you want as long as you write it with scientific terms. And that's it. Thank you very much.